Welcome to Under the Rug at Work, where I shine light on problems that are normally swept under the rug. Today, I'm chatting with Liz about her personal experience of bullying at work. Liz is a relationship coach, holistic counsellor, and meditation teacher, and has worked in the healthcare industry for over 15 years. Liz, thank you so much for your courage in sharing your story.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole, for having me today. I really, really appreciate you.
You're welcome. I love when people like to share their story because it does inspire others. Tell us a bit about it. What happened to you?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing up this subject. I think it's really, really important to talk about our stories to inspire other people. And it's a really, really big topic that some people don't talk about with workplace bullying. And I guess in my situation, I was super, super keen to help people. And I didn't really know whether to go into social science, psychology, social work, or nursing. And I chose nursing because I thought, it's good hours. You can work 24/7 and it's set hours. And then I later found out after I finished my degree that you can travel the world, and I'm like, oh, that's good to know. I didn't really think about that. I signed up to this to help people, but that's an added bonus.
Yeah.
And it actually started before I went to uni. I started doing aged care as an assistant nurse and worked my way up into leisure and lifestyle, which is activity officer. And I started doing a team leadership role that I was offered as a Cert 4 team leader. So I worked beside all of the managers, the doctors, and all of the registered nurses at the time, and the families as well as the residents. So I helped with the different meetings for families and for residents, and it was really great. And I got along well with all the managers and a lot of the staff, and I had so many opportunities. But there was a couple of people, two people that were on the floor with me that were a lot older. I started nursing when I was 18, but my first paid job was 19, and I just kept getting promoted. And I thought it was something wrong. I thought there was something wrong with me because I'm a very caring, compassionate, loving. I think back then I didn't really have confidence to speak up for myself when it came to conflicts or when it came to confrontation or aggressive people. I wasn't taught growing up how to communicate with those types of people. I was sort of taught, be a kind, nice person and say please and thank you. And I was like, okay. So at times I would get, without names or organizations, but I would get put down about, do you really think that you can go to uni? Like, why have you applied for uni? Like, just comments like that. And then shouting out in the hallways, like, oh, you didn't do this right. And it really affected I would get anxious. I would start shaking. I would go to the bathroom and I would cry because I didn't know how to face that person. I thought they were bigger and stronger and that they had more authority than me because they were older. But yet we were both in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
And my intention was never to hurt anyone. My intention wasn't to be successful in my career or education. It just sort of naturally happened for me. And then other times that if I was too communicative to certain members of staff, and Newcastle is a very small area, so if people's husbands or wives or partners are there and they see you talking to their partner, some people get jealous by that and threatened. And I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, like that won't happen again. I hadn't seen your partner in a few months. I was just having a discussion and saying hello in front of everyone. So I apologized to both people, or to the partner, to tell her, because she started yelling at me again in front of everyone and no one stood up for me. And she threatened to, I quote unquote with love, but she said, I'll bash you up. And I didn't know how to handle that. And I accidentally laughed because sometimes when I'm nervous, I'll either be quiet, cry, or laugh. And I started like a bit of a laugh. And I said, okay, but nothing happened, obviously, but that really, really affected me. And I was really scared to be around that person. And I didn't put a complaint in at the time because I was young. I didn't really know the policies, and I was very close and friendly with the community. So there was only maybe 2 or 3 people within the organisation of the healthcare that affected that. And so because I was friends with her partner, I just said, I'm really sorry about today. That won't happen again. Can you please apologise to your missus for me? And because we got along, I didn't want to betray his trust with her. So it was a little bit of, hush hush with that type of thing. But it did affect my confidence and my work performance. I just made sure that I worked in a different area. I did have a manager as well for the third person within that, because it started when I was young. That was very micromanaging. She was in a management role. And that was when I was doing my leisure and lifestyle. And actually what happened is I spoke up to her one day, actually, very kindly, like in the office, I've noticed that you're speaking to me this way and I feel this, and I think that you should work on this, and I'm going to work on this.
Yep.
And actually the weirdest thing was, I think that from that day forward, we had more respect for each other. And I actually always liked her, because sometimes I see good in everyone, but it brought us together and we worked closer together. And I think that she appreciated that I could share how I felt and what I was thinking, which was scary for me.
Yeah, well done. Well
yes,
done.
that was the first big step for me. Being a young person from 19 to 23, I was 5 years in that organisation. And then I left because I did my first year of nursing at Avondale College at Currumbong. I wanted somewhere where it had good faith, like a Christian faith, and like small community, because I'm all about community. I love everyone, knowing everyone by name, and I wanted to focus on the content. So I really put my head down, thumbs up, and I studied so hard. I didn't go to parties, and I said to everyone when I'm like, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to get results. And like everyone's like, what? Like, I don't want to be friends with anyone. Because I know what I want, and I guess I did want that success, and I didn't realize at the time. And so I left that job, thanked all my managers, and then I moved into nursing, and I loved nursing. It's great. I got to care for people and help people at a deep level, very holistically, not just with the clinical work, but also with communication and helping them through grief and trauma if they've had a loved one pass away. Or, I'm really good with that stuff. And counseling them through and praying with them if they would like that, with consent. Like I did a very holistic service, which I thought was normal. And yeah, I had so many opportunities at uni. The teachers loved me. They offered me a master's in nursing, which I was like to do teaching. And I had said, I'm too young to do that. I might do it later on. I really need to get my clinical skills up to date. And I got to go on a mission trip to the Solomon Islands and nurse there for a few weeks. And I was also on the leadership team there. So they gave me I was the treasurer, the public relations person, and secretary as my role. And so it was there to help the mental health of all of the students whilst I was being a student. So I got we got that scholarship. I think we got paid for that role. And it was really, really nice to get all of that love. And it was such a good way to get into nursing, and all of my nursing experiences were great. And I had so many job offers. And then I think when I went into the industry, like from uni, it was good, but it was stressful. Like I didn't feel supported. I was crying in the pan rooms because I was a lot slower than the people that had been working there for 10, 20 years. And I didn't have the confidence. Like I had all the knowledge and I had the basics of nursing, but I think I just needed that extra support and debriefing and extra time.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first year was good. It was stressful. Like I guess there were, like, I wouldn't say there was bullying then. I think it was just the first year out was stressful. And then I had a lot of life changes. So my best friend passed away from suicide, like 13, 11, 14 Lifeline. She was in an abusive relationship. We're trying to get it out. So I already had a few things personally in my own personal life that I was dealing with, and I was trying to make work the area where I could not be the person that's helping people at home or outside of work. So I'm like, I'll just focus on work and study again.
Yeah.
So I applied for midwifery because that's always been my dream since I was 14. I wanted to help mothers and children. And I guess it was from a selfish perspective in a sense, because I was fostered out. I was a state of ward child since I was 2 weeks old. So basically I wasn't raised by my birth parents, and they had, because this links into this, they had really traumatic upbringings, like abuse growing up, and they got into drugs and alcohol and a lot of different things, and it caused a lot of mental health problems. So when people go through trauma, that obviously can affect them. So they weren't able to raise us 3 children, their birth children. So with that, we were all placed in homes. And I lived like 11 hours from them. So they lived in Victoria. They're both passed on now, but they were in Victoria. I was in New South Wales. And it really isolated me because I didn't get to see them all the time. It was like once a year. And I found out when I was 4. And I just always had this thing in my heart where I really want to give back to people that have been through a trauma or that have had a bad life, or like how can I give back to my parents that accepted to have me, like birth me, which, you know what I mean? Like 9 months. All right, we'll hand you over to a beautiful, loving family.
Yeah.
And then I think, yeah, I've always had in my heart that how can I give back? And so I thought, well, maybe if I go back to where I was, like, which to me was midwifery, so I can keep the families together, or if they're going to be adopted out or fostered out, make sure they go to a good foster home as well. Like, and so that was sort of the selfish part is in me, that's like, I really want to learn as much as I can about babies and children and mums and families. And yeah, I think I went in there with a naive mind. I thought it would be like the movies where it's like, oh, congratulations. Like I thought it would be, and it was for the majority. Like the mums and dads really loved me. Every birth that I went through over that 12 months was successful. And I think there was probably 4 staff or more, but 2 main ones that really stuck out to me that were in like an educator role, and one was in an acting nurse unit manager role. They'd been in the industry for 20 years. I was a spring chicken again in a new niche. I was only like 27, then turning 28 the next year. And I was trying to get all my ducks lined up. I'm like, okay, I'll get married and have children and have all my psychology, social work, midwifery, nursing down pat, ready to go. Everything was lined up, and it didn't go the way that I planned. Like the 7.5 months of the 12 months, so towards the end, the educator was bullying me, like yelling at me in the hallways and in front of the families and putting me down. And I don't do well in my performance when I'm being yelled at. It affects my confidence again. I didn't make mistakes, but they were saying that I was making, like, why are you slow? Like, why are you drawing up everything? And I'm like, well, we're meant to draw everything up and then take it to the correct amount, that we're meant to do it properly. And it was just like little comments like that. And then I'd get taken out in the hallway, like, do you really think you can be a midwife? Why are you doing midwifery? Like, you're not capable of this. And just hearing that, like, I'd already had my best friend pass away the year before, my cousin passed away in the year that I was doing midwifery. My partner had lost his job. I was working full-time, and I studied a full-time second degree postgrad in MIDI. And I was also the social person for that uni as well. I got everyone out socializing. I'm like, man, I should have just been like a mental health advocate from get-go. But it was, yeah, that was really hard for me, and I didn't know how to go about. I was very energetic and positive. I was always uplifting. I felt like I had no friends. I had no one back me up, really. So I started to put in a few incident reports. I think it actually got worse. And I didn't really go into too much detail of how bad it really was. And yeah, I think from there, I had another person who I thought was a friend in the management role. I think I had actually said she'd be great as a nurse unit manager. She ended up getting that role. And I had to go to a meeting, but I didn't know that I could have a support person. Like they didn't say you have to come to a performance meeting. Like, why are you behind like the other, like why are the other students more further ahead than you? Why are you behind? Well, I think if you've had a lot of personal life situations and you're having someone yell at you day in, day out for 7.5 months straight at your workplace, that might affect it. But I didn't have the confidence to say that. I just cried and I was easily suggestible and manipulated. And the person that I thought was a friend would take me out for coffee and just ask questions like do you, like, I think this is for you? And I think I just wanted to prove myself and everyone that I could do this no matter what was happening in my life. I did want extra time. Like I said, could you give me another 6 months just so I can really show you that I can do this and that I am capable. And I just want everyone to know that there was 7 other student midwives before me that I found out about later on that was severely bullied by the same person that actually had to leave after 6 months in. I did the whole 12 months and they're all successful now. So I just want to reiterate that it wasn't just me. And I was like, oh, so that, and they were young, beautiful, intelligent people from what I heard. And I was like, oh, so for that 9 years, this person was in this role. And that's okay. If people want to be authoritative or aggressive, like they need to be, like there's a time and a place, and I think that people we all have to stay under the same safety banner. That's my thing. So everyone's got different personalities, but how can we work together type of attitude. Anyway, I did try to confront these people. I prefer one-on-one, so I'd take her into a room to chat. Even though I was fearful, I was shaking. I would cry, but I wasn't doing crying to manipulate. It's just I was shaking and crying because I was burnt out, so fucking scared, fearful of this woman. And I said, can I just talk to you one-on-one in there? And I would cry and I'd be like, listen, I can see that you've got a beautiful, like there's a good part of your heart there. But what I'm really needing you to do right now is open up to me, or like, you know, I just want you to know how I'm feeling. And the way that you're speaking to me is disrespectful and it's not right. And I'd really prefer if you do not speak to me that way. And it just made it worse. Like she's like, why are you crying? Like, why are you crying? You don't need to cry. And then it was just constantly like that. And I'm like, okay. And then the other one, when I was doing my final weeks, because I went on 2 or 3 weeks of stress leave doing meditation and taking natural herbs. And that wasn't enough at the time because I had been stuck in an environment for 12 months or 2 years, really. And with all the other personal stuff, I think on reflection, if I had just left or paused, that would have been the more mature thing to do. But I thought, I didn't know that I was burnt out. Like I thought there's only 3 months to go, Liz, you can do this. Like I just saw an outcome that I thought that I could just achieve it and move through. But one of them, the stick on the camel's back, was the one that I thought I could trust. Got me into the kitchen and was eating a sandwich. And I said to her, oh, hey, you know, I've been on 3 weeks of stress leave. I'm doing some of the births today that I've come in for. I messaged you to say that I was on the way. I just want you to know I have been on antidepressants now for about 2 weeks. And she started laughing. And she's like, that's not going to work. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand it might take a few weeks, but I just thought, you know, just to let you know what's going on. She was in the acting nurse unit manager role. And yeah, she just kept laughing at me, saying that's not going to work. And then she said, you're never going to get a job anywhere in New South Wales Health. And I believed her, because when you're mentally already, I said, okay. I said, okay, you've been here for over 20 years. You know best. And if that's what you think, then I'm going to agree with you. So she said, all right, let's go to the front office. I'll take you to the front office now. So she's walked me out to the front office, to the manager, like another manager there that was in holding that role while the other one was away. And she was surprised. She's like, oh, Liz, you've only got like 1 more subject to go. You're almost there, darling. Like she was one of the nice ones. And I was like, oh yeah, nah. I was like crying, and I was like, no, they don't believe in me and they don't want me here, and they know what's best. So I'm going to leave now, and like, thank you for having me. And then I was just crying my little heart out, and she made me a cup of tea, and she said, "Is there anything that you need from in there?" And I said, "I just need my paperwork. I don't really want to go back in that place." So she went and got me my stuff, and it was the worst day of my life in that moment. That was in 2018. August was the final day. So about 5 years ago, and I felt like my life was over. It sounds a bit bizarre because my eggs were in one basket. It was everything that I'd worked towards. It was the biggest dream. I thought if I could be a midwife, I could help so many women and children. Like, it was just like this dream since I was 14. But we don't always get to do the things that we want to do. And yeah, it was sort of bittersweet in a sense. I was severely depressed. I don't know if it was God's blessing, because I did have suicidal thoughts. Took like the last few months, because I wasn't sleeping. I didn't see a way out. Like, it was, I wasn't having many breaks, and I just kept thinking I could just walk up the top of that building and jump off. And I didn't mean to have those thoughts. It was just when you're feeling overwhelmed, bullied, put down daily. You don't really see your worth. Like, all you see is there's an outcome that needs to be achieved. I can do that, and you keep soldiering through. And so I would go there to work crying, and then on the way back home crying, and those thoughts were getting really bad. So it was sort of a good thing that I ended up having to leave, and it would have been the outcome anyway, I think. Because at that time I didn't know how to look after myself. Like, I didn't know breath work or meditation. I didn't know any of that stuff. So
that's so soul destroying. Like, and well done for speaking up in those terrifying situations. And it is terrifying, because those people are meant to support and lead and help you be better, and it sounds like they were tearing you down at every opportunity that they could get. And then the final straw was a manipulation just to walk you out. Like, that it sounds absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I think there was a few other managers that, like, why didn't you get it? Like, why don't you try child and family health? Why don't you try a NICU or special care nursery? But when you're set on a goal and when you're set on your dreams, you're like, oh, no, like, you want the best. You want the best. And looking back, I'm like, I should have listened. Like, those are beautiful roles. But I thought everyone else has gotten through it. Well, there was 7 to 9 of us that somehow over the years were bullied out. But I ended up on antidepressants, seeing a psychologist. It took me about 2 years to really heal it very deeply. My partner was what got me through. Like, he cuddled me, said, I love you, I'm here for you. He was there in the dark times, and the good times. So that's what got me through it, to be honest. Like, the antidepressants were good too, and the psychologists. But having him home in the morning and night it helped me to be like, your life's not over yet. Like, because I think I was like, you're almost 30, you haven't achieved it. Like, I had those thoughts, you haven't achieved anything. And I just said, what's my purpose? Like, what am I meant to do? That's all I wanted to do. And he said, your purpose is you. Your purpose is you. So it was just that constant support. You've got this. Whatever you do, I'll support you. I love you. I'm here for you. So I had the opposite at home. So it was good. So then I decided, my psychologist that I'd seen since I was a teenager, I've always had a support person, and she was like, you should take 6 months off, no more study, because I'm used to doing things. So I trust her, and I'm like, all right, 6 months of nothing, that's like my whole life down the drain. Like, I could be like doing something. She's like, no, just do nothing. I'm like, okay. So I didn't do anything. I did what she said. I went to the beach, I relaxed, I took care of myself. I didn't go back into those environments.
Good.
And then I literally in the January or February after the 6 months, I got a phone call from a family friend, Dan's cousin's husband, because he's like, I was thinking of you, and wondering if you wanted to become a coach, a life coach. I'm doing a course and I can teach you. And I said, oh, I'd love to. It's crazy that you've said that, because I've always wanted to coach and counsel people, but I thought I had to be like a certain age. So I was going to do all my uni degrees, be as successful as I could, and leave all that stuff till later. And he's like, oh, it's up to you, but you could start now if you want. Like, we start like in February. I said, yeah, I'd love to. Like, this is the right time, because I made a commitment to wait 6 months. So I started studying coaching, and I initially just did it for myself, for my own personal development and self-development, and to understand myself and other people and why things happened.
Yeah.
And I got so much value out of it, that I then studied the Masters of Coaching, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and Timeline Therapy with our family friend again. And then I was like, I needed another certificate to add on. So I did a Masters of Holistic Counselling and Meditation, because I looked at all the traditional ones and they were very clinical. And I thought, I wonder if, I found meditation helped me. So I did that over 2.5 years through the Australian School of Holistic Counsellors. And as I was studying that, I already was getting clients through the coaching. So I started off pro bono for free. And I've worked my way up, and I've got a really beautiful community and network, and I get word of mouth now and referrals, and help women that have been through trauma and grief to heal their past and attract and create healthy relationships with themselves, and potentially attracting their ideal partner as well. Because a lot of them are like, you've been with your man for 12 years. Like, how do you do it? So I'm like, all right, well, let's heal your trauma first, and then we can look at that stuff next. So it's sort of a win-win. They're happy, I'm happy. So that's sort of the story, I guess.
And what a story. Wow. Thank you so much for your courage in sharing. And truly, you are where you're meant to be right now. Like, I can't think of anyone better to be supporting women through trauma than you, with your history, your experience, your lived experience, your learnings, everything that you've gone through. Wow, it has been an honor to chat with you today. And thank you again. Just before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to say to maybe someone who might be in a similar situation that you were in?
I just want to say that your purpose is you, because that is what helped me. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I know that sounds like a conundrum where everyone's like, oh, everyone always says about the Bible and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And it's like, another thing is there's always tomorrow's a new day, tomorrow's a new chapter, tomorrow's a new leaf. That really helped a lot of my clients and me. And also, it's okay to be human. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay if one day you're happy and the next you're crying, and it's okay to not know why you might be angry or crying. But just doing some self-care activities, or talking to someone, messaging someone if you're not a talker, or just praying about it, or having a cold shower, or cuddling your fur babies, or whatever works for you. But just knowing that you're not alone in that. Like, a lot of people that feel alone, we're not actually alone. There was other people out there going through what I went through, and I didn't even see it or know it. And so my slogan is, you are loved, you are worthy, you are significant, and you do have a purpose here. Like, that's my 4 slogans. So my little saying, because people forget, like, I forgot my worth, I forgot my love, I forgot my purpose and significance. And so now I want to anchor into every soul I meet that you are loved, you are worthy, you are significant, and you do have a purpose here, no matter what you've been through or you're going through currently. There's another chapter. Like, I've got a thriving business now, Evolve and Become, and like, I've got 11 clients, the 12th one starting next month, and a group coaching program now, one-on-one coaching. I help parents, I help entrepreneurs. So I'm still helping women, children, just in a different way. I love it. I love what I do.
That's fantastic. And that's what we need, more people who love what they do and are supporting others to love themselves and what they do as well. So we have spoken about so much. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to link to a few support services just in case anyone needs it. But I also am going to link to your website and your Facebook group and your community, so that people can get involved if they feel called to do that as well. But thank you again, Liz. Really enjoyed this chat and really appreciate you sharing your story today.
Thank you so much, Nick. I really, really appreciate you. And thank you for being you and giving me this opportunity to share my story.
You are so welcome.